What is up everyone, my name is Stoody and I'd like to welcome you all back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing the winners and losers for the 2022 AFL trade period. Now this is just my opinion on what teams won and lost certain trades. I'm going to be going through all of them. I'm also going to be doing a video where I rank every AFL team's trade period. Hopefully that is up in the next day or two, and I'll try my best to get all the editing done. Hopefully I have the time, but yeah, so I've got all the trades on my phone here, slash free agency. No one really uses free agency anymore anyway. There are a lot of trades this year, a massive year for the trade period. A lot of star players move teams. So let's just get into it. First thing that happened, Carl Amon joined Hawthorn. Port Adelaide received pick 27 as compensation, which is a massive win for them. Definitely Port Adelaide won that. Obviously Hawthorn don't lose anything, but Port Adelaide get pick 27 for a player like Carl Amon, who isn't worth pick 27, so that's a win for Port for sure. Collingwood receive Ian Hill, or Bobby Hill, which is his nickname, and a third round pick 40. GWS receive pick 43 and a future second round selection. Now this one is kind of tough. I feel like GWS won it though, because I don't think Bobby Hill is worth a second round pick. But at the same time, that pick is probably going to be, in the mid 30s if Collingwood do good again next year. But we'll wait and see. So yeah, I'll say GWS slightly. Richmond received Tim Taranto. GWS received pick 12 and pick 19. Now I feel like that's a fair trade for both parties. I think Taranto is worth about that. So Richmond, GWS will be pretty happy with that trade. I'd say that one's a draw. Both teams will definitely benefit. Richmond basically got pick 19 for Callum Coleman-Jones, who's ended up being a pretty big bust for North. So yeah, Richmond fans feel like it's a bit of a bargain. Now we'll go on to the next one. West Coast get Jaden Hunt as a free agent, and Melbourne get pick 52 as compensation, which, I don't know. I feel like West Coast definitely win that. I don't think you'd be happy with pick 52 as compensation. So Carlton receive Blake Acres. Fremantle receive a future third round selection. I think that's I guess it's a win-win, but Fremantle, because of the amount of players they lose in this trade period, they lose a bit of depth, but they do benefit by getting some stars. So yeah, maybe Carlton win this trade because they didn't really have to give up much to get Blake Acres, even though I don't really rate Blake Acres that high. Up next, Collingwood signs Daniel McStay as a free agent, and Brisbane received pick 35 as compensation, which I'd say is pretty fair compensation. But I'd say Collingwood probably win because they're able to, upgrade their tool forward stocks. I don't think Daniel McStay will help them win a premiership. They definitely need a star full forward at least to win a premiership. Look at a lot of the recent teams. Richmond have two superstar key forwards. Geelong, two superstar key forwards. You need at least one superstar key forward and a pretty good, player as well, helping them to be able to win a premiership for the most part. And Richmond, Geelong have two superstar key forwards, so I feel like you need a good forward line to win a Prague. You need to be able to score, and that's Collingwood's problem at the moment. They just can't score. So Liam Jones joins the Western Bulldogs. Now this is the biggest load of bullshit. How in the fuck does Carlton get a compensation pick for a guy that retired a year ago? It's a load of bullshit. This is a big win for Carlton because they just get pick 49 for free. They didn't even have Liam Jones. It's fucking bullshit. But the Bulldogs get Liam Jones, who's just a spud. I don't understand why you'd do it. This is a pick swap. The D's get pick 27. The Power get pick 33, 43, and 53. I believe 43 ended up going to Collingwood, and 53 is Richmond's pick. So Port only ended up keeping 33. Whereas pick 27 for Melbourne was used in a trade where they completely scammed Collingwood. So yeah, that's definitely a win for Melbourne, considering what they're about to do with that pick. Zane Cordy signs with St Kilda as an unrestricted free agent. The Bulldogs get no compensation because they fucking went and got Liam Jones for some bullshit reason. So that's a massive win for St Kilda right there. Well, not really a massive win because St Kilda wouldn't have had to give up anyone anyway, but the Bulldogs took a huge L there because they don't even get compensation. Really, compensation shouldn't even be a thing. Teams shouldn't be getting compensation. We're literally the only league in the world that gives compensation for free agency. It's stupid as hell. North Melbourne receive Griffin Logue, Darcy Tucker, and a future third-round selection. Fremantle will receive a future second-round selection. Remember, there's a North second round, so it'll be pretty decent. Future third round and a future fourth round, all from North Melbourne. Now, it's tough to say who wins this. Probably North. I feel like they need those plays more, whereas Fremantle are losing a bit of depth. I don't rate Logue that highly. I know he's still pretty young and all that, but I don't really rate him. Tucker's just an average player. I'm pretty sure Tucker's probably in his mid-20s by now, but he's just an average player. So, yeah, North probably win that trade. So it doesn't really do a whole lot for Fremantle except get them a decent second rounder for next year. Another pick swap here. GWS receive pick 15. Brisbane receive pick 21 and a future second round selection. I'd say this one's a win-win. It's hard to say who wins this one because GWS, they get a first rounder, but the problem is I heard this draft is pretty thin, so that might not be good. It's because there's a chance that GWS might end up drafting a heap of busts. Whereas Brisbane, they get pick 21, which I'm pretty sure they end up trading anyway, and a future second rounder from the Giants, who I think will be wooden spooners. Actually, I'd say Brisbane probably win this trade because of that. Because that second round selection, in my opinion, will be pick 19, and that's only like 4 picks worse than pick 15, which is all they gave up, and they get pick 21. So, yeah, Brisbane win that. Gold Coast receive Ben Long and future 4th round selection. St Kilda receive pick 32. I'd say that's a win for St Kilda because Ben Long is an absolute spud. He's garbage. Like, why would Gold Coast even bother? Yeah, St Kilda win that. Ben Long definitely not worth pick 32. Alright, Gold Coast receive Tom Berry, pick 46 and a future second round selection, GWS's. So, Brisbane actually trade that pick. Jesus Christ, that's a bad move. Brisbane receive pick 25 and pick 36 and pick 56. Gold Coast definitely win that because they get pick 19, which will be next year's GWS's pick. Plus they get Tom Berry, who I'm pretty sure he's still reasonably young. So yeah, that's definitely a win for the Suns there. Up next we've got Fremantle receive Josh Corbett. Gold Coast receive a future 4th round selection. Josh Corbett I don't rate. He's rarely played. He'll definitely be a fringe player at best, so I'd say it's a win-win. He's probably worth about a 4th round pick. This next one, Geelong receive Tanner Bruin. GWS receive pick 18. Now, this is definitely a win for GWS. Tanner Bruin is not worth pick 18. He's an average player, and, you know, pick 18s should be star caliber players at worst. Like, turn it up, mate. Pick 18 for an average player. Bad trade there from Geelong. GWS definitely win that. Alright. Geelong receive pick 25, which they're going to trade anyway. Brisbane receive pick 38, pick 48, 55, and future second round selection and future 4th round selection. What the hell are Geelong thinking here? Definitely a win to Brisbane. They get a heap of picks. Geelong end up trading that pick 25 for Cooper Stevens. Which we got, it's the last trade, I think. Geelong are fucking dumb. They've had a poor trade period, Geelong. But a heap of idiots think they had a good trade period all because they got Bowes and pick 7. But we'll get onto that in a minute. GWS received Toby Bedford. Melbourne received pick 44. Yeah, I guess fair trade. Toby Bedford, I'm pretty sure he's pretty young, so yeah, Greater Western Sydney in, you know, rebuild mode. That would definitely help them. Fremantle receive Luke Jackson, pick 44 and pick 67. Melbourne receive pick 13, a future 1st round selection and a future 2nd round selection. So I guess Melbourne fans would be alright with that trade. But I feel like Fremantle still win it because Luke Jackson, he's definitely a future superstar caliber player. Whereas when they get a heap of picks, but they're all going to be late first rounders and a late second rounder, because you'd think Fremantle make the top 4 with their current squad. So I'd say Fremantle definitely win that because it's a guaranteed superstar, whereas Melbourne aren't getting guaranteed superstars. They might get a few okay players, maybe a star out of those picks, but we don't know because they're future players. So Essendon receive Will Setterfield and pick 68. Carlton receive a future 4th round selection. I don't rate Setterfield, but Essendon probably win that because they got him for pretty much nothing. Next trade, Adelaide receive Isaac Rankine, pick 46 and a future 4th round selection, which is Fremantle, so that'll be a bad pick, a very low one. Gold Coast receive pick 5, future 3rd round selection, and a future 4th round selection from the Crows. Yeah, you definitely think the Crows win that trade because they do get a player who's most likely going to be superstar caliber in Isaac Rankine, but you won't be too upset with this trade as a Gold Coast fan because Isaac Rankine is definitely worth around pick 5. So, up next, Port Adelaide receive Jason Horne-Francis and a future 3rd round selection, North Melbourne's. North Melbourne receive a 3rd round pick, pick 48, and a future 1st round selection. Now, I definitely do think Port Adelaide win this, but I'm not a huge fan of Horne-Francis. I think he's going to be a bust because he has attitude problems. So, I guess North probably are lucky to get rid of him. As we remember, GWS were very lucky to get rid of Tom Boyd very quickly because he turned out to be a disaster of a number 1 pick. And I think Horne-Francis is another one of those. He's going to be a disaster of a number 1 pick. So if he comes good, Port definitely win this trade with the potential he has. But yeah, North fans, you probably don't want a bloke like Horne-Francis in your team. He's just a shit bloke overall. Alright, this is like the stupidest trade I've ever seen. GWS received pick 1, North pick 3. Like, what in the fuck are you doing? You just trade your pick 1 for a worse pick. Even though pick 3 is still pretty decent, but what the fuck, mate? You just trying your best to be as bad as possible? Because, North could have chose anyone except for Ashcroft, of course. But now they going to have to wait. There's going to be Ashcroft will get selected number 1. GWS actually have number 2, so that pick goes down to number 4, obviously. So there's going to be 2 other players that North could have selected that they won't be able to select. Maybe they're just shitting themselves. They don't want to fuck up another number 1 pick. Maybe that's why I did this. Alright, Port Adelaide receive Willie Rioli. He's got a very small Willie. West Coast receive pick 8, future 2nd round selection, a future 3rd round selection. Fuck me, did Port Adelaide get scammed big time on that. Massive W for West Coast. Willie Rioli is worth maybe a 2nd round pick, but these dickheads traded pick 8, a 2nd rounder, and a 3rd rounder. Fuck me dead. West Coast win that. So, this is a multi-team one. Alright, so this is between GWS, Port Adelaide, West Coast, and North Melbourne. GWS received pick 53 and 57. Pick 53 is going to get traded later on. Port Adelaide receive a future 2nd selection tied to Collingwood. West Coast received pick 12. That's from the Giants. Port Adelaide received their pick from the Giants. What the fuck are GWS doing? Fuck me. What the fuck? North received pick 2 and pick 40 from West Coast. So, oh my god. West Coast traded pick 12 and gave up pick 2 and 40. What the fuck? Whereas GWS get pick 53 and 57, but they give up fucking... What did they give up? They gave up pick 12, which was originally Richmond's pick, and they give up a future 2nd round pick, which they got in the Ian Hill trade. Fucking hell. GWS, you fucking idiots. West Coast, you fucking idiots. Port and North. big winners of that trade. They gave up fucking nothing and get good picks. Fuck me, there's some dumb trades. So Brisbane received Jack Gunston. Speaking of dumb trades, here's another one. Hawthorn received pick 48 in a future 4th round selection for Jack Gunston, a triple premiership player. Right. He might not be in his prime, but he's still very good, and he's proven that this year. Brisbane getting for pretty much nothing. Jesus Christ. Okay. Another dumb trade. Melbourne received Brodie Grundy, one of the best ruckmen in the league. Collingwood fucking receive pick 27. Pick 27 for Brodie Grundy. Oh, that's the dumbest trade you can see. Like, Grundy's worth a top 5 pick, but Collingwood only received pick 27. Oh, God. Alright. Here's another one that is a shocker. Geelong received Jack Bowes and pick 7. Gold Coast received a future 3rd round selection. Now, we all know Gold Coast were trying to dump salary, but why the fuck would you give up pick 7? It just makes no sense. Yeah, obviously Gold Coast have been terrible when it comes to negotiating contracts. So, yeah, they've found themselves in this massive hole. So have Collingwood. They've found themselves in this massive hole, and it's definitely holding them back. This could cause Gold Coast to not make finals, and it could cause Collingwood to not win a premiership. Next, Collingwood received Billy Frampton. Adelaide received a future 3rd rounder, which is, it's whatever. Frampton is not worth that much. He's a fringe player, so this is their replacement for Grundy. Fucking Frampton. Alright. Richmond received Jacob Hopper, pick 53 and pick 63. GWS received pick 31 and a future 1st round selection. Say this one is, I guess, win-win. The Giants will be pretty happy getting the 1st rounder, as it's probably overs for Hopper. But Richmond do get a ready-made midfielder who really does fill a need for them. So I'd say this trade is win-win. Now, next, I believe I'm up to the last day now. Sydney receive Aaron Francis and pick 42. Essendon receive pick 37 and a future 4th round selection. This is obviously a win to Sydney, because Sydney received pick 42, which is only 5 picks worse than the main pick they gave up for Francis. So, yeah, a dumb trade from Essendon. So, Essendon received Sam Wiedemann, pick 54 and pick 72. Melbourne received pick 37. I think that is, I guess, around about what Wiedemann's worth, so I'd say that one's a win-win. Melbourne received Josh Shackey. Western Bulldogs received a future 4th round selection. Josh Shackey's pretty trash. I don't know why Melbourne would want him, but they gave him up for not very much, so it's whatever. Win-win, I'd say that is. The Bulldogs don't have to put up with Shackey at least, but it's about to turn into a disaster for the Western Bulldogs. Melbourne received Lockie Hunter. Western Bulldogs received a 3rd round selection. Fuck me. Lockie Hunter, who's definitely an above average player, yet Western Bulldogs give him up for basically nothing. Yeah, Western Bulldogs have not traded well this year. Alright. Brisbane received Josh Dunkley, a future 3rd round selection, and a future 3rd round selection tied to Melbourne. So they get the Bulldogs 3rd rounder and Melbourne's 3rd rounder, which is actually what fucking the Bulldogs traded got from Dunkley. No, not Dunkley. Hunter. Western Bulldogs received pick 21, a future 1st round selection, future 2nd round selection, and a future 4th round selection tied to Geelong. Now, this isn't a massive scheme, obviously. They get a 1st rounder, an early 2nd rounder, and a future 2nd rounder, but this future 2nd rounder is going to be like in the late 30s, because Brisbane are going to be a top team next year, and we all know that. So it's definitely a win to Brisbane, because Josh Dunkley is an absolute beast. He's one of the better players in the league. So, yeah, that's definitely a win to Brisbane. Alright, this is the last, no, this is not the last trade, it's the 2nd last trade. Hold on, my phone's fucking up. third last trade actually. It's a 3-team trade. Collingwood, Hawthorn and Geelong. Collingwood received Tom Mitchell from Hawthorn. Collingwood received pick 25 from Geelong. Hawthorn received Cooper Stevens from Geelong. Hawthorn received pick 41 and 50 from Collingwood. And Geelong received Ollie Henry from Collingwood. Now, it's obvious Collingwood win this. They get Tom Mitchell and pick 25 for a spud in Ollie Henry and 2 shitty picks 41 and 50. Whereas Geelong only receive a spud, they give up pick 25 and Cooper Stevens for a fucking spud. Stevens is better than Henry. So Hawthorn, they at least get a decent young player in Cooper Stevens. And they get 2 shitty picks, but they lose Mitchell, so they've been scammed. Collingwood fucking completely finessed Hawthorn and Geelong in that. Holy shit. Western Bulldogs received Rory Lobb, and oh my god. Fremantle received pick 30 in a future second round selection. Proves my point that Fremantle are the best team when it comes to trading. They fucking schemed Western Bulldogs big time here. Because Rory Lobb is not worth 2 second rounders. He is not. He's not that good. Alright, so here's the last trade. Fremantle received Jager O'Meara and a future 4th round selection. Hawthorn received Lloyd Meek and a future second round selection tied to the Bulldogs. And this is definitely a win for Fremantle. They receive a star caliber midfielder. Whereas Hawthorn, they received Meek, who is okay, I guess, and a future second rounder, which it just simply is not enough for O'Meara. So, yeah, Fremantle scam another team right there. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and be sure to click that thumbs up button and leave a like on this video. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. They're both called Stoody YT. Links to them will be in the description. Be sure to join my Discord server. It is called Australian Sports Community. Link to that is also in the description. I will try and get a ranking video of all the teams, hopefully in the next few days up. So yeah, I hope you all had a good day, and I'll see you all in the next video.